This new Labor government has released previously confidential details about the now dumped East-West Link project. The documents show the toll road would have been expensive to build, returned low profits and contributed to worse traffic on other arterial roads. Ashlyn McGee reports.
9,000 pages of traffic modelling and economic projections. For a $6.8 billion road project, the new government has dumped. These documents were once secret, but Labor broke with convention to release them today.
This is public malfeasance and fraud of an epic scale.
The only fraud is Tim Pallas pretending to be a treasurer. I mean, really, everyone stuck in traffic knows Victorians need better road networks.
These documents include business plans never released to Infrastructure Australia. Because of the risk, the lower end range of the cost-benefit ratios may be used as a justification for not supporting the projects. That lower end is that the road would have returned just 45 cents per dollar invested. Just months later, an updated plan revised that up to 80 cents per dollar.
Gone to extraordinary lengths, as I say, to make the numbers stack up in the way that they wanted to.
The documents show the East-West Link would have been 10 times more expensive to build than Eastlink and raised only half as much revenue from tolls, with a one-off $5.50 charge for cars during peak hours.
This was a dog of a project that has clearly a $2.1 billion black hole to be funded out of tolling existing roads.
There was no need to even consider tolling existing roads. It was never going to happen.
The Labor government's released these documents to justify why they're tearing up the contracts for the road, despite it exposing taxpayers to a costly contract cancellation fee. But the bigger question now is how much that fee will be, and we won't know that until they release the contracts. Ashlyn McGee, ABC News, Melbourne.
To other news now, and the Napthine government considered imposing tolls on major roads, including the Eastern Freeway and Westgate Bridge, to fund the East-West Link tunnel. The controversial option is revealed in the secret business case, finally released today by the new Labor government. Here's state political reporter Brendan Donoghue.
Labor ministers described the previous government's secrecy over the $6.8 billion East-West Link tunnel as deceitful.
This is worse than creative writing. These are outright lies.
Despite promises of being a congestion-busting project, the estimated travel time savings range from a low 16% in the AM peak to 20% in the PM peak and 49% in off-peak.
This is public malfeasance and fraud of an epic scale.
And to fund the tunnel, new tolls were considered for the Eastern Freeway, Tullamarine Freeway north of CityLink, the M1 between the Balti Bridge and CityLink tunnels, the Westgate Bridge and Westgate Freeway. Former Treasurer Michael O'Brien says Cabinet rejected the option of using tolls to fund the tunnel. Instead, it used state and federal funding and $3.3 billion raised by the private sector. That's money the public would have to repay over a few decades.
There was no need to even consider tolling existing roads. It was never going to happen.
The one-way tolls proposed for the East-West Tunnel were $5.50 for cars, $8.80 for light commercial vehicles and $16.50 for trucks. But the business case reveals just 6% of Eastern Freeway traffic travels to the airport and 7% the port and western suburbs, with the majority of vehicles headed to the CBD, inner north and south down Hoddle Street and Punt Road.
A tawdry tale of public deception.
Michael O'Brien denies Labor's claims there was a $2.1 billion black hole in the project funding. Brendan Donoghue, 7 News.
But to other news now, and the secret East-West business plan has revealed its construction cost alone would have taken 56 years to pay off. The documents made public by the Andrews government today also included plans to increase tolls to pay for the tunnel. More from Dougal Beattie.
Wheeled in and unloaded box by box, the East-West business plan laid bare as the government broke protocol to release the Cabinet in confidence report. The documents revealing cars would be charged $5.50 to use the tunnel, trucks $16.50 per trip. The total cost of the project is $6.8 billion. The Victorian government contribution, $2 billion, $1.5 from the Commonwealth and $1.2 from toll revenue, leaving a $2.1 billion so-called black hole.
This is public malfeasance and fraud of an epic scale.
For the Stage 1 shortfall, tolls could be introduced on the M1 from CityLink tunnels to the Balti Bridge, on the Tullamarine Freeway north of CityLink, as well as tolling stations on the Eastern Freeway, and existing tolls potentially raised for both CityLink and Eastlink. To pay for Stage 2, it's proposed all vehicles would be charged on the Westgate Bridge and Westgate Freeway, but increasing tolls wasn't the plan, according to the former Treasurer, with the gap to come from budget surpluses.
There was no need to even consider tolling existing roads. It was never going to happen. It was never an option for us.
The project would return 45 cents for every dollar invested, but with the widening of the Tullamarine and Eastern freeways, the return rises to 80 cents, and it would take 56 years of tolling to pay for construction alone.
They knew that it wouldn't deliver the results that they were pretending it would.
The report was published in the Herald Sun this morning before its official unveiling in a budget-style lockup today, and Michael O'Brien left in the media crosshairs after claims the documents had been leaked by the Liberal Party.
If you want to believe the Labor Party...
You're the one that just said Labor has breached Cabinet in confidence, and I put it to you, the opposition is the party that has breached Cabinet in confidence.
About 4,300 jobs are now in limbo after the Andrews government told the East West Connect consortium to halt the project late last week. And today, still no detail about how much it will cost the state to break the multi-billion-dollar contract. An expensive question to be answered another day. Dougal Beattie, 9 News.